Okay, so we're on lesson number 339. At least I'm on lesson number 339 of the workbook of A Course in Miracles, and I still haven't been able to get the technology on this laptop to work correctly. So it might be time for a new laptop, something a little bit more advanced and a little bit higher quality. So remember, we're working under or let's put it this way, not working under, where the contemplation that we're asked to consider prior to doing the lesson is what is the ego? And as I read this lesson, um, the understanding of what the ego is ties directly in with the understanding why this is true. Lesson 339, I will receive whatever I request. And in case it sounds familiar, we have come across this lesson in a number of ways, since in fact it is the key to the key to salvation is you must get the result of your own thinking, and you whatever it is that's occurring, you're bringing it on yourself by the use of your mind and your heart. And what this is going to say is no one desires pain, but he could think that pain is pleasure. No one would avoid his happiness, but he could think that joy is painful, threatening, and dangerous. Why? Because, quite simply speaking, in the condition that we find ourselves, in the world of space and time, where in which we think we're bodies, we have no idea of what we are. We have no idea what our purpose is here, and we have no idea, therefore, what we would want to become of any relationship with anything based on any decision that we make, simply because if we are mistaken, excuse me, about who and what we are, then we cannot not be mistaken about what it is we think we need or what we would like to receive in any situation. And if we use the idea that we're bodies in space and time as the means of making decisions as to what we desire and what we would like to have, we will always be wrong, because the ego, which fosters the decisions that we make based on identifying ourselves as a body within space-time, is a mechanism designed to find things that it thinks we feel like we are missing and attempt to set us on a journey to get them, all of which seems to be taking place outside of ourselves. However, the truth is, what it is it's taking place within ourselves, yet we're operating as if the world we see around us, the projected imagery, is real. Okay? Forgetting what our reality is, therefore not understanding what our true desire is. So every time we come to a moment where we think there's something that we need or missing or desire, okay? If we base our decisions on the past in hopes of having a different future, we cannot not be asking for something within the egoic realm, which in and of itself doesn't hurt us, but it is the searching for something outside of ourselves, following the dictates of the ego, which puts the tension in our system because it's resistance to listening to the voice for God, wherein which we begin to have experiences of recognizing that there is nothing outside of ourselves that we require. And in the recognition of the truth of who we are and the willingness to follow God's plan for salvation, what we require and what we were given is based on our ability to fulfill our function and utilize what is given to us for a purpose not in this world, yet one that we set about achieving while still participating in a world of space and time, because our new purpose has become one of salvation through the recognition of forgiving ourselves of our thoughts that have caused us the pain and cost us the pleasure that we could take and have if we were living a life based on grace. Everyone will receive what he requests. You must get the result of your own thinking. Okay, and I've said this a number of times in a number of different lessons in a number of different ways. If you do not know who you are and have not undergone an experience of awakening to the recognition of your identity, of wholeness and perfection, okay, then what is occurring to you is the suffering of the pain of dim awareness that we attempt to eliminate through seeking within the world of space and time something that can only lead us further from our home, in a sense, and cause us more suffering. Okay? Now, the way to understand, if your mind has not been healed and righted, the way to understand, and this goes for anyone, I don't care what lesson they're on, the way to understand what it is that you have been requesting is by looking directly at what it is you have been receiving and the experiences that you've been having within the world, space and time, in the thinking that you are this body and this person. Okay? If you no longer want the results of those decisions that are being made unconsciously by the control you've given to the ego and its reasoning to the proof that the world is real and you have denied God and therefore should be guilty. If you are following the ego's dictates, your experience will be anything but godly. And yet, by recognizing the ungodly nature of your experience, you can stop, recognize that you have no idea what it is you've been asking for. Make a decision to not seek an answer like the ones you've been receiving, and then wait and begin to listen for another voice, offer you another solution from a part of your mind which, while it has always been accessible to you, has been, the access has been denied by the desire for pain in the form of what you think would give you pleasure. Okay? What can he then request that he would want when he receives it? What can he then request that he would want when he receives it? There. That's this point where your mind can stop and begin to look within itself, look within your own reasoning, and begin to see how another decision must be available if, in fact, you've always been getting the result of the decisions that you're making. Okay? So it's right there. He has asked for what will frighten him and will bring him suffering. Let us resolve today to ask for what we really want, not based on a form association in the thinking that there's a form out there that can offer us some sort of happiness, some sort of joy or freedom from suffering, but based on the certainty that we are being offered a solution somewhere in our heart and mind because we recognize there is one. Okay? And we can begin to ask for what we really want, not a form, but as, let's call it for a second, an ideal. Okay, ideally, each decision that I make, everything that I desire, ideally, I am hoping will bring me happiness. Okay, ideally, if I'm a Course in Miracles student, everything that I'm desiring will bring me and align me closer and closer with God's will and with the fulfillment of my own function. Okay, there's a part in the Course where Jesus says, when it comes to relationships, want nothing of the world to come of any relationship you are in. Then you can begin to understand that what you desire is the recognition of your own eternal nature and the infinite love that you are part and parcel of and have been created to extend. Okay, now that's in there somewhere. Now we're be given a process. If you would ask me, this is a process. This is a way where we can consciously begin to understand the decision-making mechanisms of our heart and our mind so as to see how we can implement new decision-making that can bring us what we actually want in terms of a feeling and experience, rather in the thought that there's something that can, outside of ourselves, some intermediary that can give us what we don't have within ourselves. That's an impossibility. We are looking to utilize our decision making to restore us to the truth of who we are and the nature of our being created whole, perfect, innocent, and full of joy by our Father. And yet we know not how to do that because why? This is, let us resolve today to ask what we really want, and only this, that we may spend this day in fearlessness without confusing pain with joy or fear with love. And we don't have to do that as long as we begin to make decisions based on content rather than form. And remember, whenever a decision seems to be offered to us, to decide on content rather than form. Then, as we begin to utilize even the most mundane decisions that we make in the world of space and time as reminders to seek ye first the kingdom, we will uncover more and more moments of decision making that have been offered to us so that we can reaffirm once again our decision to seek the kingdom and the necessary getting of the results of seeking of the kingdom and experiences that are not of this world, yet are in alignment with who we are in reality. Father, this is your day. It is a day in which I would do nothing by myself. Bingo. The problem that we've been experiencing is one of separation. The solution to the separation is that we are not alone and we do nothing by ourselves. How we do that is by stopping and remembering the truth of what we are being taught in the face of our experiences to the contrary, and allowing the truth of what we're being taught to catch up to us in the moment that we pause and allow new decisions to be made in our heart and mind, because we no longer wish to decide by ourselves. We wish decisions to be given to us that actually serve the purpose of the fulfillment of our function in God's plan for salvation and atonement, and bring us the joy of doing His will right here, right now, in space-time. Father, this is your day. It is a day in which I do nothing by myself, but hear your voice in everything I do, requesting only what you would offer me, accepting only thoughts you share with me. Because attempting to accept thoughts that are not shared with God and all our brothers is how we reinforce separation and therefore sickness, pain, suffering, and death upon ourselves.